Beacon Press Audio presents The Behavioral Code, The Hidden Ways the Law Makes Us Better, or Worse, by Benjamin Van Ruige and Adam Fine. This audiobook is narrated by Danny Hughes. Published by Beacon Press Audio, 2021. Chapter 1. A Tale of Two Codes. Imagine that you could take a pill. A red pill. A little like the one Morpheus offered Neo in The Matrix. The pill promises to show you the world as it really is. Before today, every morning you would turn off your alarm, get dressed, make your coffee, and get in your car to drive to work. But this morning, just before you leave your house, you take the red pill. You drink some water to wash it down. At first, nothing changes, but just as you're backing your car out of your driveway in the beautiful California sunshine, suddenly, fine print snippets of text begin appearing as though they are attached to everything you see. Underneath the speed limit sign across the street, you see text that reads, "A person shall not drive a vehicle upon a highway with a speed limit established pursuant to Section 22349 or 22356 at a speed greater than that speed limit." The text continues, "No person may drive a vehicle upon a highway at a speed greater than 65 miles per hour." You rub your eyes and then focus on it again. "No person shall drive a vehicle upon a highway at a speed greater than is reasonable or prudent, having due regard for weather, visibility, the traffic on, and the surface and width of the highway, and in no event at a speed which endangers the safety of persons or property." You note that each of these texts has small lettering at the end, indicating its source, the California Vehicle Code. As the pill's effects begin to intensify, you start to notice that the little texts are popping up everywhere. Rules, rules, and more rules wherever you look. These little scrolling snippets of text are all over your car. There are rules that explain that you must have a driver's license to operate a car, rules about the usage of handheld devices, and rules about driving under the influence. You already knew the gist of these rules, but the amount of detail you now see all around you is staggering. You find texts about things that you sort of knew you should not do but were never really sure were illegal. One text explains that you are not allowed to throw out your window any bottle, can, garbage, glass, nail, offal, paper, wire, any substance likely to injure or damage traffic using the highway, or any noisome, nauseous, or offensive matter of any kind. So would throwing an apple core out of your window into the bushes break the law? You guess it depends whether people see that as offensive matter of any kind, or if it constitutes offal, whatever that is. Offal are entrails, decomposing animal flesh, or just waste in general. The inside of the car is too overwhelming, so you pull over, get out, and lean against the hood. But a flurry of texts is cluttered around your headlights. You read a few. Some just state the obvious. A motor vehicle other than a motorcycle shall be equipped with at least 2 headlamps, with at least one on each side of the front of the vehicle. That makes sense. But others provide details you never heard of. The headlamps and every light source in any headlamp unit shall be located at a height of not more than 54 inches, nor less than 22 inches. Another explains that any motor vehicle may be equipped with not to exceed 2 auxiliary driving lamps mounted on the front at a height of not less than 16 inches, nor more than 42 inches. It continues to explain that driving lamps are lamps designed for supplementing the upper beam from headlamps and may not be lighted with the lower beam. Does that mean you can't use your driving lamps and headlamps at the same time? What's the difference again? None of these rules were on your driver's license test, but now that the law has revealed itself, you realize that there are an enormous number of very specific legal rules. Who knew there were such detailed rules about car lights? These are only a fraction of the text such a magic red pill would reveal. The California Vehicle Code alone has over 1,000 pages filled with dense rules on virtually every aspect of operating and driving motor vehicles. And these are only the applicable state rules about driving. They do not include the state and federal laws and regulations that guide the manufacturing and selling of cars. A magic pill would show a staggering number of legal rules in relation to car production, tort liability, vehicle emissions, automobile safety standards, occupational health, and safety standards for vehicle factory workers, and competition rules, let alone the thousands and thousands of pages of the U.S. tax code as they apply to the production and sale of cars. The red pill would reveal that laws and legal rules are omnipresent. Wherever you looked, you would see stacks and stacks of legal rules. We live in a world of code, legal code, that guides every aspect of our lives. This code is everywhere. It's there when we are at work, when we watch television, when we grow food, when we serve food, when we play sports, and when we build homes. It's there when we date and fall in love, when we go online, and even when we sleep. Legal code is as old as humanity. We clearly see it in our ancient religious texts, such as those in the Bible and the Quran. Originally, everyone knew the code. They were the rules of the community, the Code of Hammurabi, the rules ascribed in the Zhou dynasty's bronze cauldrons, and the Ten Commandments. They were the customs of the group or the laws of the city. But as legal systems and societies grew larger and more complex, legal code itself grew and grew. And each time there was a new risk or a new problem, people called for new rules, and more laws and more regulations were adopted. In our everyday lives, we only see snippets of the code. After each new mass shooting, we learn about different gun laws on assault weapons, bump stocks, and background checks. After Bernie Madoff's massive Ponzi scheme, we learned about fraud rules and securities regulation. After Purdue and Johnson & Johnson settled historic lawsuits in the wake of the opioid crisis in the United States, we learned about tort law and product liability. But in all of this, the average person gets only tiny elements of the full legal code that surrounds us. Its size and complexity has made it impossible to grasp its entirety. Not even trained lawyers can see the full code as it truly exists. Lawyers themselves have to do hours of legal research and delve into databases of legal rules and case law. Even then, the picture is fuzzy at best. Because the legal system has become so vast and complex, we are unable to see the intricate web of rules that to some degree shapes every aspect of our lives. It may seem nonsensical to have such a massive system of legal rules that guides our everyday existence, but most rules have a reason for existing. They are intended to keep us safe from harm. Consider how the U.S. used laws, rules, and regulations to respond to some of its biggest challenges in the 20th century. In the 1960s and 1970s, 2/3 of American lakes, rivers, and coasts were so polluted that they had become unsafe for fishing and swimming. As a result, Congress adopted the Clean Water Act in 1972. This new law sought to fundamentally curb water pollution and make the waterways safe for both fishing and recreation. Or head back to the 1930s. In the wake of the Great Depression, Congress enacted the Glass-Steagall Act to separate high-risk investment banking from ordinary commercial banking activities. It created the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which protected people by insuring bank deposits to help maintain the overall stability of the nation's banking system. Whenever our society faces a harm or risk, we continue to develop rules that we adopt into the legal code. Not everyone always agrees on what the damages and risks are, what causes them, or what the best legislative response might be. But when there is sufficient consensus and political support, we end up with new legal rules to address the risks our societies, markets, and environments face.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?